Hey everyone, it's Kariana, the one, the only, your favorite witchy coach. And today I am going to be talking about a topic that a viewer, a subscriber had brought to my receptionist, and they brought it to me. And they're asking for no contact to contact, and then to marriage with affirmations and wavering. So talking about all those topics in one can be kind of a lengthy video. And I know you guys asked for me to talk in longer videos. And I like doing that, but there's a lot going on, in my own life. So I don't want to be talking for 45 an hour. So I'm going to try to break that down into videos for you guys, but I will eventually get to it. So today I'm going to talk about no contact to contact. And then I'm also going to talk about wavering. And I will give you guys some examples of affirmations that I used myself when I was in no contact with my SP that worked for me. Okay, so let's get into it. Before I forget, you guys know what I'm going to say. All of my information for one-on-one coaching will be down in the description box below, along with any cool stuff that we're giving away. And please like, share, and subscribe, because that way you guys get notifications on anything that we're giving away. All of my videos, you'll get notifications on, and just all of the fun stuff that we have to offer on our channel. So like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. So what's going on in my world, guys? And that's like one of the reasons why I didn't want to cram like 4 subjects in one video, is because I am cooking gumbo today. Like, I've been dealing with the new kitty, and then I had to go to the store twice because I forgot something, and I was like super irritated, but done and over with, guys. Gumbo is on the stove right now, boiling, cooking, doing its thing while I'm filming for you guys. But yeah, it's a big deal when I cook like this, because I make my own roux, I make my own shrimp stock. So I do everything from scratch. I'm a big cook and baker. I find it therapeutic. So today on the menu is gumbo. So anyways, that's what I'm doing, guys. My house smells like a Cajun restaurant, and like, what's better than that, right? So I hope you guys are cozy in your world, wherever you guys are, day or night. In this world, I hope you guys are having just like, a relaxing, like cool, chill time watching this video. All right. So guys, when I was in no contact with my ISP, I've talked about this before. Like I said, I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I am going to, because I feel like all of these subjects I've talked about before in one way, shape, or form in all of my videos throughout the time that I've been on this platform. And so, and like I said, all the years that I've been coaching, I've never wavered or changed my mind on any of this stuff. I'm not going to change my mind on it now. So I'm pretty adamant about the way that I teach this to my clients. And then I'm going to bring it to you guys. So, I've talked about before, when I was in no contact with my SP, okay, because I've been with my SP for a very long time. We have a very big running history with each other. And there was a time where we went into no contact, and I didn't want my SP back. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't sure about it. Obviously I knew, what I was doing, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted him back or if I wanted to manifest somebody new in. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys straight up. My story was, everybody else reflected that I was great. Okay. So I had a running story, like I've talked about in my last video last week. I had a running story around one particular person. Okay. Or I had a running story about relationships. Okay. That pertained to this person, because now I pushed it on this person. So yeah, I had a story around that person because I was in a relationship with them. So obviously that started pushing out in my relationship, and it was like, oh my God, great. I'm dealing with this again in my life, right? That was my story. Okay. Like I said in my last video, it might not be your story. It may be just something that you're experiencing for the first time with one person. That's doubtful though. I see a lot of people come to me, and everything else in their life reflects great. Everything that they want, everything they're intending, they're getting, they get so much praise from their boss, from their coworkers, from their friends, from their family. But in relationships, after a couple months, they go to crap. things start happening, and there's like a running theme between relationships. The person starts showing up the same way, okay, as obviously the person's assumptions, the running story that they have about relationships. That's usually the case, but I do see it with people that are like, I've had great relationships, Kariana. I was just in a marriage for, however long. And then I started dating this person, and boom, they're acting like unbalanced, unstable, immature, not prioritizing me, all of the narcissistic things that we've talked about before. Because society has told us that when people act a certain way, that's the disorder, okay? Or if they act a certain way, they're immature, or they've got bad behaviors and addictions and all of the other stuff, okay? And so that was my story. But I had experience before in my other relationships, not as much, but I did. So you know what I'm going to say, guys, okay? Because once I sat down and I really thought, do I want this person, or do I want to manifest somebody new? And I came to realization, okay, that because these assumptions that I had pertaining to relationships were obviously following me clearly, right? But because I had these assumptions about relationships, and I had experienced a couple times before, I knew that if I manifested somebody in new, okay, or I manifested my SP, it was going to be the same thing. I had to change my story about my assumptions around how people in relationships, right? How people show up for me, and how I'm viewed in that relationship. Okay. So I chose and I decided, okay, because I'm going to tell you, you know what I'm going to say, get clear on what you want. Okay. And choose get clear on what you want. So choose what you want, and then decide, stand in conviction, right? Stand firm. Everything I've always said in what you want from this particular person, what you want from your relationship, right? Get clear on that, and then stand firm in that, stand in conviction of that. We're not effing around here, guys, and we are not wavering. And that's okay if you waver. I'll talk about a little bit about that more later on in the video. Like I say, okay, in all of my coaching sessions and stuff, when we're dealing with relationships and stuff, people come to me and they are emotional. They're frustrated, they're angry, they have resentment, they're crying, they're sad. And all of these emotions, I understand, because I've been through all of it. Or I've seen my best friend go through it. I've seen my family member that I coached go through it, whatever the case may be, guys. And I always say, these emotions are meant to be brought up to the surface so you can acknowledge them, you can observe them, and then you can release them, okay? We have a problem when we hold on to these things. We have a problem when we stuff these things down. We have a problem when we fear these things, okay? So let's not do that, okay? So that's a little tidbit that I'm going to talk about with wavering. So now that you've gotten clear on what you wanted, okay, and you are choosing and deciding that this is going to happen for you, this is the only option. It is the absolute only option for me, is to get exactly what I want out of SP, out of relationships, period. Okay, period. All right, guys, stand firm in that, because that's what I did. I made a whole video on it. Getting what you want is the only option. I talked about my relationship in that. And I literally chose and decided, stood firm in it, stood in conviction, getting what I want is the only option, period. Okay. I didn't care what was going on out here. I didn't care. Did I have to interact with it? Did I have to, for the most part, I want you guys to ignore the 3D completely, right? Completely ignore your 3D. Because whenever we're looking at the 3D and we're picking things out of the 3D and we're going, oh my gosh, that just seems so permanent. Oh my gosh, they said this. Oh my God, they didn't do this. Okay. We're giving our power away. Okay. We're giving our power away to something that's old, dead. It's literally just a product of what's going on in here. What was going on in here before. Okay. There's a delay in the 3D. I've always said that, right? And so whatever you're experiencing right now here, it's what was happening in here before. Okay. So we're always one step ahead of the 3D. Okay. Don't ever forget that. So when you have hung your hat on the 3D and you're paying so much attention to the 3D and you're going, oh my God, this is my reality. Oh my God, they said that it's permanent. They said they never want to see me again. They said that they don't love me anymore. They said that we're not a good match. They said that this is not a good idea, that we're not compatible, whatever the case may be, right? We're not good together. And you hang your hat on that, you've now given your power away. Okay. So what I mean by interacting and responding to your 3D is deal with it, but don't let that be your end all, right? Don't let that be your story. Don't. Just realize, like, okay, if something happens in my 3D, I can interact with it. I can deal with it. I can respond to it, but I take the emotion and I take the reaction out of it because I know that this is just all dead fake news. And I don't need to feed into it because I'm giving my power away. Okay. Remember that, guys. Remember that whenever I am sitting there and I'm dealing with my 3D and I'm saying, oh my gosh, this is my reality. Oh my gosh, this is my end. Oh my gosh, this is permanent. I'm giving my power away. And that is not acceptable. We can't give our power away. All right. That's why we're deciding that this is our only option. We're deciding that us getting what we want out of a relationship, getting what we want from SP, okay, is the only option. Okay. Bottom line. All right. And the other thing is, guys, is that I want you guys to step into your power. I've talked about this on the last video. I'm gonna talk about it again. I talked about it since I got on this platform. Okay. First and foremost, we have to realize how powerful we are. So I want you guys to be affirming that you're powerful. I want you guys to step into your power and really realize that you're the creator and you're the only cause. Okay. And so no matter what is going on, it all ends and begins with you. And that's the bottom line here. Right. So it's like, stop. Like, I want you guys to stop giving your free will away. Right. Like when you're dealing with this thing about SP, right? This breakup that you've had, or SP has said that they need to step back, or you've been, ghosted, and now you don't even really have a breakup. You don't even know what's going on at this point, right? If you, once again, are paying too much attention to what's going on and spotlighting what's happening to you that's unfavorable, instead of trying to find a solution and going back into your head and living in the end, thinking as if, right, that you're going to have this, that you're going to get it back, that it's going to all work out, that you have it right now, depending on how much resistance you have, right? That's when we snatch back our free will. But when we start going and spotlighting what's happening that's bad, all you're going to do is create more of that. Okay. All you're going to do is be on that hamster wheel that I talk about, right? And going nowhere because you're spotlighting that. And then, you might be complaining about it, right? Okay. So you guys, I use analogies all the time. And the analogy that I like to use when we're talking about the subject is like the rom-com analogy. Okay. And it's like, who doesn't love a good rom-com? But the thing about a rom-com is that what are rom-coms about? Rom-coms are about how society has told us all, for forever, that if something happens to you, you spotlight it, you gossip about it, you throw yourself into it, you run into it, and you complain about it. Complain. What does every rom-com have? Okay. They usually have a breakup, and it's usually a girl. Okay. It can be a guy. I've seen rom-coms where guys devastated, right? I think it's that Sarah Marshall video. It was a good one. Anyways, he was more like sad and down and depressed and everything. And then he went on that vacay. But a guy, girl, who cares? Rom-com. Okay. So guy, girl, super sad. Oh my gosh, the person broke up with me. They devastated me. They're calling their best friend, or their best friend's calling them and checking on them. I'm worried about you. You've been laying on the couch for a week, pizza boxes everywhere, wine bottles everywhere, ice cream tubs everywhere, right? And your friend finally gets a hold of you, and you're on the phone with them for an hour crying about what happened and replaying the conversation, every word verbatim. Or your best friend shows up at your front door and they're sitting there with you at your house, and you order pizza, you have a tub of ice cream you're crying into, and you guys are two wine bottles in deep, okay? Which, who doesn't love wine, right? But like now you're extra sensitive, and you've talked about the subject over and over again for the last 3 or 4 hours. Okay. And so what you've done is you've just gone down the rabbit hole, the victim, the victim train that I talk about all the time, the rabbit hole, the spiral, all of those things that I talk about, right? So you've just gone down that, and you've just spotlighted everything that's happened to you. Okay. And you've gone into it, and now you're in a spiral, and you've given away your power. You're giving your SP, the situation, the free will. You need to snatch that back. Snatch it back, guys. I'm not trying to say that you can't cry. Once again, guys, I promote crying. I promote having emotions. Abso-freaking-lutely, 100%. But it's where you dwell. It's where you go back to, okay? We don't spiral. We don't go down the rabbit hole. We don't jump on the victim train and go there for hours, days, weeks on end. We don't. We literally have to feel those emotions because they've come up for a reason. And we acknowledge them, we observe them, we let them go, we release them, okay? Because they're there for a reason. And the more that you do this routine, okay, if you're dealing with a breakup, if you're in no contact and want to get back into contact, the more that you do this routine, right, this format that I like to call it, right, this homework, I like to call it the homework, then the less the emotions and the feelings come up, right? Because you're acknowledging it. You're not stuffing it down. You're not fearing it. You're not trying to run away from it. You're just going, okay, this sucks. I'm feeling this, and so I'm going to feel it right now. I'm going to release it. Okay. It's fine. It's not going to end anything for me. It's not going to end anything for me. Right. And start seeing your SP as the person that loves you, that's in love with you, that wants to be back with you, right? Start seeing them in the perfect version that you want to experience. Okay. Their best version. I always say this, guys, you can't be affirming and living as if we're going to get back together, guys, living in the end, or we are back together. It's happening right now. Either one, right? Because some people have resistance depending on where your mind goes, right? Either one's going to get you your SP if you concentrate living in your mind than out here. Okay. But if you're seeing your SP, okay, the real story is that they're an a-hole. You're seeing them in their worst light. They have bad behaviors. They're treating you like crap. They're not prioritizing you. They're the person that said that they never want to be with you again because you guys are not compatible, and they're done, right? You're contradicting your mind. You're contradicting your subconscious. Your subconscious is confused. And so it's going to push out either a confusion, hot and cold, back and forth, or you're not going to see any movement at all. Movement is always happening, but you're not going to see it. You're not going to be able to call it in. And you're going to feel like you're on that hamster wheel. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to feel like you're on a hamster wheel. And it's going to be the continuous Groundhog Day, waking up every day in the same day. And that's madness to me, in my opinion. It's madness. Okay. So yeah. And then, yeah, of course you guys have to change the old story. Okay. Remember that we must change the old story. Okay. We must change the old story. That is basically getting clear on what we want, right? Changing the old story into getting clear on the new story and really laying that down on what we want to experience in our relationship. And the version of SP that we want to experience and how they want to see us and how is it like, this is very important, guys. How is it like now that this person has shown up this way, right? How is it like for me? How is it like for me? How am I viewed? How does my SP see me? How do I feel? How do I feel being loved like this, right? Being unconditionally loved, being cherished. How do I feel? Well, I feel powerful, right? I feel great. I feel powerful. I feel like there's no doubt. I feel safe and secure. That's very important. I feel supported, right, by my SP. Okay. You guys got to really think about like, how is it? Another thing is, right? Another thing to set your mind up. That's really good is I want you to really think, and you can sit down, you can write this down for sure. 100%. It's one of my exercises. I'm not going to get too far into that because that's like more of a coaching session. And that's like, I'm going to get way too far in it. But in a nutshell, right? I want you guys to really think about, okay, so if this person showed up at my doorstep tomorrow, okay, and they were in their perfect version, Okay. And they were telling me everything I wanted to hear. And I was seeing everything I wanted to hear from them. And I was feeling everything I wanted to feel from them. How would it be? What would it be like? Okay. What would their characteristics be like? What would it be like? And then, now that I'm experiencing this, now that I'm being loved like this, right? My SP is seeing me in my perfect version. I'm seeing them in their perfect version. They've showed up at my doorstep in this perfect, best version of themselves, right? How does that make me feel now? Okay. How does that make me feel? And when you're living in the end, when you're living as if in your mind, okay, no matter what you see out here, once again, I'm going to make that very clear. No matter what you see out here, okay, how would I act? How would I act if I had my SP right now? Well, I damn sure wouldn't be checking my phone every hour. I wouldn't be affirming and checking my phone. I wouldn't be affirming and checking the time and counting hours down and wondering where this person is, right? I wouldn't be doing any of that. I wouldn't be affirming and then thinking in my mind that this person is crappy to me and they don't prioritize me, because if I had my SP in their perfect version, I wouldn't be thinking like that. I would be happy, right? I would be happy. I would be excited. I'd be calm, confident. I would know that I was powerful, and I would know that I was unconditionally loved, and I would feel safe and secure in that. And I would know that this was a give and take. I would know that whatever I gave out to my SP, that I would get back tenfold. These are all the things that you should be affirming, that you put in your new story and that you live in your mind with. These are all the things, right? And so let's talk about wavering really quick before this video gets out of control long, okay? And also too, guys, so that's basically the format that I had lived by when I was going from no contact to contact with my SP. Okay. And most importantly, guys, like I said, I responded to this, I interacted with this, but I took the emotion and I took the reaction out of it. Okay. I interacted with it, I responded to it, but in my mind, I was like, I decided, okay, and I knew that whatever I wanted, I was going to get it. It was the only option. I chose and decided. I decided, boom, I'm getting what I want. Getting what I want, and it's the only thing I'm planning for. That's it. And I stood in conviction. I stood firm in that. There was no major wavering. Okay. And like I said, when I wavered, that's why I talked about that. Let me go into wavering. Wavering is natural. Okay. I get it. Sometimes it's going to happen, but it's just like your emotions. It's just like the things that you're doubting and all of that. Yeah. Does it completely ruin anything? No, it doesn't. But you guys throw a fork in the road. You guys make it harder on yourselves when you do that. Okay. Remember, it's where you go back to. It's a story you go back to in your mind. Okay. That's what counts. It's where you dwell. It's where you dwell. So if you find yourself dwelling in your emotions and feelings that are coming up, if you find yourself dwelling in doubts, if you find yourself dwelling in the fact that you're not powerful and you can't do this and what if, you've got to really get disciplined with yourself. This is about discipline, okay? It's about repetition at first. Discipline and repetition, okay? Like I've said, you're an A, you want to get to B. The only way to get through to A to B is through, and it's uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie to you. It's uncomfortable. Now, can it be uncomfortable for a short time? Absolutely. Can it be comfortable for a longer time? Absolutely. That's when you throw the fork in the road that I just talked about. Okay. And I always tell my clients, right? The only way to get from A to B is through, but I've seen these things happen overnight. Okay. I mean, I'm dealing with a client. I'm going to talk about her success story right now because she's on fire. She didn't really go into great detail, but I'll talk a little bit about her story before I read what she said, because literally I was working with this person, this client, right? She had coaching before. Long story short, had coaching before. She was really fed up with herself. She wanted to get out of her own way. She was just frustrated, right? She has a long running story with her SP, like I do. Okay. And she was like, I'm tired of the way that he's showing up for me. Right. She was wavering. She was doing all these things that were causing back and forth, hot and cold, up and down. Okay. And so I got her straight. I got her reset. I got her back and better than ever. And I'm going to tell you right now, after our first session, she came back and she was like, you're not going to believe this. My SP completely turned around. And then on our second session, I think it was like our second session, maybe going into the third, like after I think on the third is when she told me, because her next thing was, I want my SP to start coming in, because they were literally in points where they were like not even talking. They were in no contact. Okay. And they've been together for a long time, but they were in no contact. They were separated. They lived together at one time and then broke up. I mean, it was a disaster, and it did not look like they were getting back together. Okay. They had, like I said, they went into no contact. So they were basically split apart for a really long time. And then after our first session, she got her SP coming in and consistent communication, acting completely different, all that stuff. And I told her, I said, what is your next step? Because I believe in manifesting in steps when you're at that point, because you can get overwhelmed if not, right? And that's why some of my affirmations are going to be about, like, you know, the fact that your SP and you are getting back together. Okay. Because if you have some resistance around and you're still living in your end, right? You're still living in your new story of you guys are getting back together. And that's okay to be affirming that you guys are going to get back together. You don't have to be saying it's happening right this second if you have resistance around that, just an FYI. But anyway, so my client was like, my next step is that I want us to move in together, right? I want us to have that bond and I want us to be close. And then obviously her end goal is marriage, right? But I said, okay, let's work on that. Second session, we worked on that. We worked on money. And then by third session, she told me, you're not going to believe this. And don't get me wrong, she had doubts, she has emotions, she had things that she brought to the session. She got emotional, but she chose and decided. She stood firm, she stood in conviction, and I whooped her butt into shape, and she got what she wanted. And now they're making plans to move in together right now, currently. And this all happened within 3 weeks, not even 2.5 weeks. Okay. So you guys can do it. I've seen it happen overnight. This does not have to take a long time. Don't compare yourself to my clients, okay? Because everybody's different. Depends on what resistance you have. It depends on the whole story. It depends on how disciplined you guys are being with yourself. The repetition right now, like I said, it's about repetition, right? And discipline, okay? And that's what she did, because she wanted to get out of her own way. She was tired of her own crap. And she realized, she took accountability and realized that she was creating. Okay. And then she got what she wanted. She's one of my success stories. And it happened, I mean, literally practically overnight. You know what I mean? So I've seen these things happen. They can happen that quickly. She started pushing things out before it was even hardened into fact. And I told you guys plenty of times that that's what happened with me and my SP. I was pushing things out with us before it was hardened into fact. And then that strengthens my belief. And then I go on. Then it's about persistence and consistency. Right. And just hardening the fact, that new story, and dealing with my 3D being now back to favorable. Right. And relishing in that and knowing that I'm a creator and having that new story take over the old story and impress, harden into fact, guys. Right. So I'm going to read that. But first, okay, guys, I want to give you guys some affirmations. Okay. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to do that at the end. I'm just going to read her little update story thing that she had sent my receptionist. So she said, hi, CYF. Just wanted to say what an amazing coach you have in Kariana. She is the bomb, and I have manifested so much in the last few weeks. It's crazy. My SP, with the help of Kariana, has undergone some fine tuning and major changes. Major changes and fine tuning. Sorry, guys. His whole attitude has changed, which is something that I previously never thought I'd see. He is now in communication with me. We speak all the time. And today he just told me that he wants to live with me. I cannot thank Kariana enough. Honestly, this coach is the real deal. If you are looking for someone who genuinely cares and is dedicated to getting each and every one of her clients' successes, look no further. It was an absolute blessing to coach with Kariana, and I owe her everything and more. Thank you so much. You have no idea how grateful I am. Kisses. Okay. So guys, she summed it up because she is sending me like a lot of successes as we go. But I told you guys her story in a nutshell. You heard it from the horse's mouth. That is not made up. That is an actual email from my client to my receptionist to me. Okay. Can't make this stuff up. Cannot make these stories up. Okay. And I told you the format I gave her to get in contact and then to get the ball rolling with living together. I had her do, she chose inner conversation because that's one of the things that I really love to do. And I mean, it's basically living in your head, living in the new story, living as if living in your end. And you're just adding visualization to it, right? Some people add audio, some people like telephone method, right? Audio, visual, because some people cannot visualize very well and they feel caught up in that, and that's fine. They're both a meditation of some kind, right? And one's audio, more audio, right? You're hearing the conversation going on. Okay, maybe you have pictures that pop in your mind because your mind sees in pictures. I always say that. Or maybe you're doing a 10-minute meditation, same thing, right? Or very, very similar, but you have pictures that go along with, what you want from SP. It's all the same thing, right? And so she chose to do the visualization and have the conversation with her SP in her mind. And she did have resistance towards it. She was like, I just don't know. He's just, the old story is that he's moody and he's unstable. And I just don't know what kind of mood he's going to be in. And I don't want to bring it up and I don't know how to bring it up. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. No, we got to stand firm. We got to stand in conviction that he is no longer an unstable and moody person, that he's always going to be in the right mood to have that conversation with you, that he's always going to be out of his ego mind. He's dropped that. Remember, the things that have been holding you guys back from being together, he's already worked through, right? We have to think about that. He's already worked through those things. He's out of his ego mind and he's ready to communicate. He's open and he's ready. He's here and he wants to listen to your ideas. He wants to listen to your dreams and your desires with him. Okay. And then we went from there, and she did that. And every single time she had resistance, every single time she had doubts about that conversation, she would go back in living in her mind, living in the new story, living in the end, living as if. Okay. And she got what she wanted. She got what she wanted within 2.5 weeks, guys. And you can too. Don't put a time limit on it though. The reason why I'm saying that is because she wrote it in her email, and I didn't want you guys to feel like you had to compare yourself to that, because it doesn't matter if it's taking you guys longer. It doesn't matter if it's taking you guys a shorter time. Okay. It just does not matter. But remember though, every single time, like I said about the rom-com and the spotlighting what's going on, you throw a fork in the road for yourself. You make this more complicated for yourself. You're making this more complicated, okay, than it needs to be. Okay. Manifestation should be pretty smooth, guys. Okay. It's not that complicated. So affirmations for getting back in contact with SP. Okay. Number one, I like the affirmation that your SP is initiating positive in communication. Okay. Or you can say SP, my SP is always initiating consistent and positive communication with me. Okay. You can say, of course, SP and I are getting back together. You can say right now. Okay. Of course, SP and I are or SP and me are getting back together right now. Okay. You can say, I always experience my SP pursuing me. Okay. You can say, the past is irrelevant if you're having resistance around, if the old conversations are being brought back into your head, your breakup conversation, what SP said to you, what SP did. I want you to be affirming our past is irrelevant. Okay. SP's past, my past, our past together is irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. It does not matter anymore. Okay. Remember to always, always, always be affirming that you trust yourself and you trust your SP, that they're a reflection of you, right? That you trust yourself, that you trust this process, and that you know everything is working out in your favor. Whenever you have doubts, whenever you have resistance, whenever you start wavering, be affirming that, guys. Okay. It's a great blanket and umbrella affirmation about your power. Okay. SP and I are now back in contact. Okay. You can say without a doubt. You can say from this day forward. You can say once and for all. Okay. No matter what. I don't know if I said that or not before. Those are powerful statements. Always is also a revision statement. We all know that. I've said that before, right? But when you're affirming, right, you can say from this day forward, SP and I are now back in contact. Okay. Without a doubt, SP and I are back in contact. Okay. So I'm going to leave you guys with those affirmations. Take everything that I said. All right. If you have to sit down and get clear on what you want and write down everything that you want to hear, feel, and see from your SP, and what would it be like if they showed up at your doorstep tomorrow, today, right now? Okay. What would it be like? What would it be like? And what would you be like in relation to that? How would you feel? Number one, you would feel powerful, right? Okay, guys, I think I've covered everything about that. I hope you guys are cozy where you guys are, any part of the world, day, night, any day that you're watching this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, you guys take care. And you guys are just absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of you. Like I said, I have several success stories, guys. I'm going to get to them. I promise I'm going to get to them. I have a job success story. I had a success story about a client that stopped her SP from leaving and going across the country and not being around her for the whole season. That's amazing. What else have I had? Like I said, this client that is talking about her SP in this success story is on fire. So that's going to be crazy. I don't even know what else she's going to manifest. It's going to be insane. Okay. So anyways, proud of you guys. Love you guys all. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.